So, welcome back guys. Today we're gonna talk about 5 additional moves that you should try avoiding to overuse or to use in general. Last video I covered some moves like down back 3 and people requested or just wrote comments that down back 3 is one of his best moves overall. I want to quickly touch on that topic. So, of course, this low is on paper and overall a very good low. Arguably one of the best low pokes in the game. But being launch punishable means that you cannot let the opponent get down your timing. So if you're that good that you can abuse the low and have such a big variation in your timing that he's not gonna block it, go for it. Then abuse the shit out of this low. But I am not that good. I know that I can hit this like 3 to 5 times, but after a certain while, if he starts to adapt to my rhythm, or even before he does, I switch to down 2 because the risk is a lot slower. And then I switch, after doing a few down 2s, I switch back to down back 3. And that works very good for me. So in today's episode, the first one is a legendary one, raw shoulder. I actually today watched the Feng Wei player on Tekken God playing, and he abused the shit out of it. He just threw it. He literally just threw it out there. Let me tell you. So this is like, there are certain characters that can afford throwing this out. For instance, Paul. But Paul throws this out at the wall because it high crushes. Very reliable. And there are certain situations where he just doesn't have quick mid, which has crushing, and he expects jabs, and that's why Pauls do it. Or maybe Beers, for instance. But for Feng Wei, that isn't the case. And even though I can see that he's lacking quick mids to wall splat, which main wall splatting tools for me is sidestep 1+2, for instance, or counter hit 4-2. You can kind of get greedy and use this, but it's minus 19, and this is that kind of minus where everyone will launch you. But one fun fact is, Feng himself cannot launch it, by the way. I just want to point this out. That's how shitty his hop kick is. He has to do this. So against Feng, please do it. But against every other character, don't do this. Take your time, set up counter hits, and at the wall, please, stay with me in this. I know a lot of people will comment and tell you this is trash. With Feng Wei, it is more important to pinpoint your opponent because Feng lacks range. If he's in, you don't need the wall splat to deal the damage. If he cannot backdash, your tools that lack range will all of a sudden be very devastating. So don't always aim for a heavy mid that is minus like a lot on block. Just heavy. If you want the wall splat, go for 4-4-2 or sidestep 1+2. And if you want to get someone off of you, you could go for this move, for instance. This also crushes jabs, and if you don't go for the extension, it doesn't get punished very often. Or you can go for this. It doesn't knock down, but it crushes jabs as well, and the extension is hit confirmable. Don't go for fucking shoulder, because minus 19 means you die. Let me just check something. Can Feng actually launch this somehow? I think he actually cannot. Wait a second. But this is way too slow. This should retry. Oh, he can! Fuck this, man. I can launch you, you fucking scrub. So, I don't think most Fangs will be ready. Next one we're gonna cover is actually one of my favorite strings that I really abuse in certain matchups. And for some reason I just don't find the... What the hell are you doing, man? Okay, we're talking about 2-1 back turn. Back turn in general. So, most people I see don't use the third tit of the string unless they're at the wall. Don't get me wrong. This string, even though it's -1 on hit, so it's not a punisher, but it's great for me. I use it a lot because it has a mid check in it, so if they're ducking my jabs, because I use a lot of 1-2s with Feng to cover some tracking, then I like to use this because the range is decent from the mid actually. Has an extension which is heavily delayable and only -13, which on counter hit grants a knockdown for a free shoulder. I wish it would grant a counter hit, of course, but this is all we get with Feng Wei, and has a very nice cancel to it. But the problem is most online Fangs do the cancel all the time immediately, or delay this only if they're at the wall. At the wall, this delay is actually so obnoxiously like expectable, if that's a word. You don't do this at the wall is where you actually abuse the cancel, because then it is actually so annoying. And because if you do this at the wall, you don't delay this unless it's ranked battle. If it's ranked battle, please, first time, do it like this and you will score a counter hit for wall splat. But against good opponents, they will not interrupt you. That means at the wall, this is super good. But in the open, it's actually not. Because most people don't know about the third hit and will hit you out of it. Or will just take the risk because at the wall you're not gaining that much. And then it's very important, even though it's punishable, to do the string before you do the, to finish the string. And not one time, I'm talking about like 2 to 3 times before you actually do the cancel. And keep one thing in mind. If you delay this, they can easily sidewalk the extension. And sidewalking is also a very decent option against your back turn mix-up. Because I think the tracking is only there for this one and this one. I think this one also tracks, but it doesn't track entirely. So before you go to the cancel, just do it immediately sometimes. Again, good players. Because you cannot step this if you do it without a delay. And most people at higher level are used to the delayed version or the back turn version. But not for you to just throw it out. So what I do is just throw it out first. Maybe get punished once or twice depending on the character. If the character has a super hard 13 frame punish like Jonamitsu that knocks me down for a lot of damage into Oki, then this maybe isn't as viable and you should maybe just throw this before you even go for the third hit or the cancel. But for instance, sorry, if I'm playing a character that has a weak 12 frame punish, I do this a lot actually. Then it's good, but don't do the cancel immediately. Because the risk, you're only at -2 here. But the frame data is actually wrong here because it counters in the startup of the cancel. In reality, he can do a hop kick and there's nothing you can do. At least from my testing. So be aware of that. The next thing we're gonna cover is back to the back 2 string. I will just call it back 2 string because I fucked this up so many times. It's back 2 4-3-2, I think. The problem here is that the second hit is always a low. Oh wait, it's back 2 3-4-2. So there we go. At the wall, this is very decent as a wall combo if you delay the last hit. This is all heavily delayable. So delaying the second hit can be annoying. And the second hit is only 0 on hit, which is very good. So you can back one afterwards. But the problem is the second hit has no mix-up. So if the opponent is smart, he just fuzzies low parry into low block. Like this. Do you see my input? Here, if you don't delay it, you're gonna get low parried. And if you delay it, you're gonna get low blocked. It's not that bad on block, to be honest. So if he doesn't low parry it, he actually gets, like, he has to take the whole string. There's nothing he can do. There is something where you block the low and sidestep the mid. But for that, you have to be super sharp. And I think it's only a thing for Alisa and Zafina. So what you want to cover is the low parry. And there, you really have to rely on the delay. This is delayable forever. Can you see this? I think that is actually a delay of 10 frames almost. If you do it like this, then it is actually decent. And I want to try something if I can set it up, because I'm not that good at P mode. The string doesn't have tracking, but the low tracks actually very decently, even on delay. So, okay, there I stepped it, but it has decent tracking, believe me. So what you need to do before you can use this trashy string is do this alone. Just do this as a mid poke. I know it looks super shitty, because on block this is slightly punishable, but most people will buffer the low parry and not punish you. So you kind of around -7 to -8. It's funny, I'm normally doing like a showcase what you shouldn't do, but now I actually tried to tell you how to use it if you want to use it. In general, this is not a good string. If you do back 2 and you see your opponent not reacting correctly, then of course you can abuse this, because on rank there are actually people who eat this, even in higher ranks. But for good players, what you want to aim for is really only the delayed version, the heavily delayed version, because if they block it, it's not that bad, right? But if they low parry it, it's super annoying. So if you use this, please heavily delay it, otherwise don't use it. And keep in mind, without the delay, if I remember correctly, unfortunately oh wait, I have to jab before, so I know when the string will start. Without the delay, the tracking is not as reliable as it normally is, as you can see here, as it is with the delayed version. So yeah, keep that in mind. The string overall is shitty. One thing I forgot, actually, all the time, if you do a shoulder, say shoulder. It's very important. I do this since Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and the character makes actually more fun to play if you do it. You just scream, "Wah!" or shoulder. This is like mental damage that you do to the opponent. When you play offline, just scream it every time. Okay, sorry about that. The next one is a very debatable one. And I will get a lot of comments saying, "What are you talking about? This is his best low, I swear I do so much." No, you fucking don't. Since Season 3, this is death on whiff. Sidestep 4 on whiff will get you raped. Easily raped. It wasn't like this before. Easily raped. And yes, I get it now has, I think that's what they meant in the patch notes, it now has a good high crush window, but for me it doesn't look like it. I saw people telling me that this now reliably high crushes, but I cannot confirm that. This used to high crush like this if I'm late all the time, but if I do it immediately, I'm catching him out of the sidestep, so I'm not entirely sure about the high crush thing. But what I mean is mixing up sidestep 4 and down sidestep down for free. Sidestep down for free is a great mid. After that, you can actually use the sabaki if they jab, so it looks very good. But what I want to discuss with you is that both moves have one weakness, and that is range. Sidestep 4 has to hit clean hit, which is about 2.9 at max, where it can clean sweep the opponent. Most likely 2.8ish. And the funny thing is, down for free actually hits from range 2. Like this. This is max range. If you're around here, it will whiff. No? Like 2.3ish, 2.2ish. So it doesn't have the best range in the game. Let's say it like this. And both moves have the same weakness. So what you're trying here is to set something up that doesn't like help each other. If I, for instance, okay, let's say on block this is death anyway. So let's say I'm gonna get hit, right? On hit, this is a decent mix-up, right? Oh shit, I didn't get hit. No, it's not. Because I can still backdash the low and I can still backdash the mid. This is not a mix-up, even on plus fucking 6 against a good opponent. Do you get that? It's just not. So, is it good if the opponent tries to interrupt you after a wild standing 1? Yeah, but look at the risk reward here. You're throwing out a telegraphed sweep that is on sidestep so slow that with the sidestep itself, it's actually reactable. So it's a hard 50-50. When this would be 18 frames, with the sidestep, it still wouldn't be seeable and you could crush jabs with this consistently. But if he sees you sidestepping, the low is so slow that he has enough time to duck. The good thing is both moves have a similar startup, so from that regard it's a true mix-up. But they both have the same weakness, so they don't cover each other's weaknesses. For instance, if you just backdash here, it's not a mix-up. What I like to do is to either, because sidestep 4 will still connect, even though it doesn't clip. And you have one mid that has a little bit more range, I think, from my testing. It hits from a... Oh, sorry. It hits... What? Can you please do this? Yeah. Okay, sorry. This actually hits from 2.3-ish. So... the problem here is, if you want to sidestep mix up someone, then it is very hard because here is actually a heavy frame difference from 3 frames. So it would be fuzzy. You could fuzzy this if you press this, for instance, to fuzzy the low. Sorry if I go into much detail. So as I said, the good thing is that the startup is similar, but the range of this sucks. So what you need to do is to find a better mid to launch the opponent. So what I suggest you is doing sidestep 2 and confirming that into 2 tilde 1. 2 tilde 1 for a launch. Because this is safe on block. It covers approximately a little bit more range than down for 3 if I'm not entirely stupid. And what that means is that you actually have a confirmable launch here that on block has almost the same situation. Which means that you can sabaki afterwards if they jab. But you have to be able to hit confirm this, which is very, very easy. You can hit confirm this like ages. It does more damage, gives you a better combo, and covers the weakness. I still think that sidestep 4 gets you killed a lot more than you think. So sidestep down for 3, if the opponent doesn't backdash very decently, is a good option. And on some wake-up situation, I really like down for 3. I really do. It's a good Oki tool. I get that. And with sidestepping, it is a very deadly Oki tool if they get up wrong. I get that. But in the neutral and in the open, this is too easily backdashable for it being a real threat. I see some people being very, very good with this as in keep out tool. But now since the recovery got changed, it is really suicidal on width. So if you want to keep someone out, you can also do this because this high and mid crushes consistently. Or do this for at least a consistent high crush. But, and more range by the way. Still being reactable, sorry. But this gets you killed. If you need the damage, you can go for it. But for instance, a good situation is after a counter hit it down for 1, if you dash up into sidestep. Then it is very good. What I like to do is roll dash, sidestep, and then mix them up. And 90% of the time, I either go for down 2 instead, or a down for 3, because down for 3 is very rewarding. But then if you need the damage, of course, you can go for the sidestep 4. But in general, only do this if you really forced to, because of the range issue. Sorry that I took so much time for the last moves, but they're a very integral part. And I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Goodbye.